Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Kendall Fisher, the Senior Media Production Manager here at NetSuite. Welcome to our live panel dedicated to our all-new NetSuite Analytics Warehouse, our new data warehouse and analytics solution that helps businesses spot patterns and quickly surface insights from NetSuite and third-party data to improve decision-making.
Now, to dive into all of this, we're going to be bringing on some key members of the team behind the launch of NetSuite Analytics Warehouse. We have Joav Bally, who is the Vice President of Product Management for Suite Analytics. We have Chirag Patil, who is the Practice Manager, and Mike Wasserman, Cloud Technologist.
Now, if you haven't joined us during one of our live events before, we absolutely love to hear from you. So use the comments there wherever you're tuning in from, if it's on LinkedIn or Twitter or YouTube, whatever it may be, Facebook, use the comment section and ask us questions throughout today's event. We're actually going to open it up to your audience questions with our panel at the very end of the event. So keep using those comments to ask whatever comes to mind.
And look, if you don't have any questions, that's okay too. Just give us a shout out in the comments. Tell us what data issues you're struggling with and how you're trying to tackle them, and tell us where you're tuning in from. Most importantly, we'll shout out right back to you. We know you're tuning in from all over the place. So we want to share that with everyone else. I'm actually in an undisclosed location in the Middle East, and Kendall is all the way in Southern California in Santa Monica, where I believe she's been munching on some kale.
I'm actually more of a spinach girl, but I appreciate you looping me into the Santa Monica culture. And shout out to my fellow SoCal natives who are tuning in. Make sure to use the comments to shout out so we can get to you. And now with that, Fritz, I realized we didn't intro you. Everybody, this is Fritz Nelson. He's the editor-in-chief and head of content here at NetSuite. So Fritz Nelson, everyone. And now with that, Fritz, you think we should bring on our panelists?
Let's do it.
All righty, please join me in a very warm virtual welcome for our panelists, Joav Bally, Chirag Patil, and Mike Wasserman. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us.
All right, we got a lively crowd here, and we want to jump into it. But you know what? We've asked our audience to let us know where they're tuning in from. So I feel like we should do the same with each of you. Joav, where are you today?
So Fritz, really quick, we're having some technical difficulties, I think. I am not seeing Joav or Chirag or Mike on the broadcast. So bear with us while we deal with this. Fritz, are you seeing them on your end?
No, I'm not. I have a different view though. So we can hear them.
In the meantime, Fritz, why don't you tell us some jokes? I'm just kidding. Okay, hold on.
Well, I think you have a little kale between your teeth.
I just brushed them. All right, let's see. Bear with us here for a moment while we bring on the rest of the team. Everyone, hold on one second.
We promise you they're very good. And I will say it's very late here in the Middle East.
Let's see if we can get this going.
Getting close to 11:30 at night here. Some of you are just waking up.
Tori, can you hear me? All right, I'm in communication with, I think, let's see. I'm trying to communicate with our producer here. Okay, yeah, let's just send. All right, perfect. All right, look at that. We are going to work. Chirag is having some technical difficulties right now. So at the moment, we're going to wait for him to sign off, hopefully, and sign back on. But for now, please, everybody join us in welcoming again Joav and Mike here. Thanks, Joav and Mike, and everybody for tuning in. Sorry about those technical difficulties, but we're gonna dive in right now. Fritz, take it away.
Okay, so I did want to start with finding out where everybody is. I guess we'll just ask Joav and then Mike. Joav, where are you today?
I'm actually closer to Kendall than you are, but I'm in Northern California, so in San Jose.
Okay, got it. And Mike?
No Kel joke?
Well, I am a Rams fan, and, we play the 49ers, but we can get into that. But I was going to stay away from it.
Maybe save that for next week when someone has something to talk about.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm based in Denver, Colorado. I currently live in a suburb outside of Denver, so that's where I call home.
Okay, great. Yeah, like I said, we're all over the place. I love that. So let's get right into it. While we wait for Chirag to come on, we're going to start with Joav. Let's start with a little bit of a warm-up conversation, Joav, about analytics and so-called data-driven cultures. And we use the characteristic data-driven. And, I think most organizations would argue that they are data-driven. But really, what makes a business data-driven? What are the criteria in your mind?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And yes, I think many organizations are aspiring to be data-driven and are on a great journey to truly be data-driven. I think for me, a couple of criteria to determine that is to have a certain data maturity and data literacy across the whole company, meaning it's not like one person crunching numbers and getting insights, but really it's across functions, it's across hierarchies. People are really embracing the value that data is giving them and the insights that they can derive out of them. And they also follow to where the data is leading them, even if the intuition or even if upper management is or was on a different path, right? So it's following the data. Let's have personal preferences. Let's put them aside, right? Let's see what data is saying. And follow that and make sound business decisions based on that. I think if companies embrace that, that's when I would say they're truly data driven.
Yeah, and I think gut obviously has driven so many decisions, and that's what I mean by some organizations would call themselves data driven, but oftentimes they have data, but they're still making gut level decisions.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and absolutely, you're right. I think many organizations are getting used to having access to data that was not necessarily available to them many years ago. So back then, many decisions were gut driven, and I'm not saying that the data is. You have to trust the data 100% and there is no gut involved. Right? So insights and deriving certain decisions based on these insights, there will always be, sort of genius and gut involved to that. But if data tells you one thing and you go completely in the opposite direction, more often or not, the gut will lead you to the wrong way.
Well, and I guess kind of going on the opposite of gut and going with your gut, I want to touch on actually data science and the role of a data scientist. When does a company need to think about having a practice and a team dedicated to this versus just having truly data savvy professionals in various functions? Mm-hmm. Joav, I'll throw that one to you.
Yeah, sure. So I think if we look at the overall analytical cycle, usually the cycle goes like this. You gather data, you analyze the data, you gain certain insights, you have a discussion what to do, you take a decision, you implement it, and then you monitor that implementation to see, was it a good decision? Is my business improving based on that decision? And you do that by gathering, again, data, and then the loop starts again from the beginning. I think a good point to start with is to go through this loop a couple of times and to become savvy in gathering the right amount of data, analyzing it, having the right tools in place to have you analyze the data, and then have the culture in place to really take decisions, implement the decisions, and adjust from there. Once you've went through this loops a couple of times, I think the company will mature pretty fast, and they will get to a point where they will see, hey, we could decide and implement much faster. What is holding us back, right? And then they will get to the point to say, hey, the technology and the way that we are analyzing the data, I think now we are reaching a point where we need data science, machine learning, AI, some of the most sophisticated techniques to really help us achieve our goals faster.
And of course, getting to that point is easier said than done for a lot of businesses. So Mike, I kind of want to just go back a little bit. And what are some common challenges that businesses face in becoming a more data-driven company with a more data-driven culture?
Yeah, I can handle this one. I was a solutions consultant for about 10 years before moving into this role. So I had the pleasure of working with probably close to 1,000 NetSuite customers. So I've seen a lot of challenges arise and visiting them and working with them. And a couple key ones come to mind as it relates to this topic. The first one is the data that they already have, and just being able to understand it, tap into it, make sense of it, and figure out how to make effective business decisions around it. Especially when you're talking about ERP type data, it's typically very complex. There's lots of dimensions, there's lots of relationships between the data points, and sometimes it requires a decent amount of expertise just to figure out how to understand it. And so that's one challenge I encountered. And another one is actually understanding the complexity of all your data sources as they relate to each other. Right, bringing in information from all of your technology platforms, analyzing them cross-functionally, and in turn being able to make better business decisions holistically. So those are two of the major challenges I found as it relates to data.
And as you said, you've worked with tons of NetSuite customers. So naturally, my next question is, how does NetSuite help businesses in overcoming these challenges and really help businesses in becoming more data-driven?
Yeah, of course. So obviously, NetSuite can help in a number of different ways. There are tools built into the application itself that allow customers to analyze their data within NetSuite. There's this concept of a saved search. It's sort of a foundational feature of NetSuite that returns like sort of a dynamically filtered list of data that you can do all sorts of interesting things with. There's financial reports you can run within NetSuite, and a workbook tool that allows you to do things like pivots and multi-level joins and gives you some basic charting capabilities. But at a certain point in a business's evolution, they're usually going to need to tap into other technology packages. Think of the solutions that are specific to your industry. I was just on a call with a customer that manages routes, and they want to run all sorts of analysis on the routes, their delivery routes. That data is not in NetSuite. And sometimes and a lot of times it's not really practical to bring that data in custom tables and what have you. And so that's really where a data warehouse BI solution comes into the picture and will provide value for a business.
Amazing. We're going to dive into all of that. As the title of this live panel is called, of course, we're going to dive into the NetSuite Analytics Warehouse and Suite Analytics and how we really help drive a data-focused culture. But really quick, we're getting a ton of shout outs and hellos coming through right now. First and foremost, I want to welcome Chirag back. We were having some technical difficulties, as is typically the case here in this virtual world. So, don't hold a grudge against us for that. But so first and foremost, welcome, Chirag. Thanks for joining us. And I'm so glad you were able to get back on. And then I want to send a few shout outs to people from all over the place. We have people from Denver, Sweden, Santa Monica, Calgary, Dallas, Orange County, Kennewick, Washington, Sao Paulo, Germany, Florida, Houston, Paris. Wow. So many people joining in from all over the place. A few names I want to shout out to really quick. Hello, Jessica, Danielle, Herb, Daryl, William, Carl, Faraz, Zoran, Kara, Wilson, Doug, and Eric. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, for tuning in today. And for all of you that are also tuning in right now and haven't commented, make sure you continue to do so. Send us some questions. Tell us about your own data struggles and successes, and also tell us where you're tuning in from. And with that, Fritz, handing it over to you.
Yeah, good job with the names of places and names of people. You didn't screw any of them up, I don't think.
You're always expecting me to screw up, I know. So I'm glad to make you proud.
So now that we have Chirag back in the mix, we're gonna put his feet to the fire here.
There we
so
go.
Chirag, Mike was talking about some of the things in NetSuite. Let's dive in. Suite Analytics is our embedded real-time business analytics and reporting solution. What is NetSuite Analytics Warehouse?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having us today. It's great to be on this live podcast today. Sure. Suite Analytics is for NetSuite data only and used for transactional reporting. Mainly used by line of business users and managers to track on how their business is doing with real-time transaction reporting. All of our customers have access to Suite Analytics. We have over 6,000 plus customers who are actively using it, and over 4,000 customers who are using Suite Analytics Connect, which is used to extract NetSuite data for use in their other BI tools. So there was a constant demand from our customers to build a data warehouse solution, and that's where our NetSuite and Oracle product teams came together to build this solution called NetSuite Analytics Warehouse, which has three main components. ADW, which is Oracle Autonomous Data Warehouse, where all the data resides. OSC, which is Oracle Analytics Cloud, where all the data visualization happens. And the Suite Analytics Connect, which is supplying NetSuite data into the warehouse. And NSW comes pre-built with their NetSuite data pipeline that can be configured on a daily basis or can be run on demand as you need. So basically, NetSuite Analytics Warehouse is a data warehouse with a BI layer on top of it to bring not only NetSuite data, but also third-party application data where customers have enterprise software or web analytics to analyze and visualize data combining from multiple sources. It's also built on Suite Analytics, where with NetSuite Analytics Warehouse, data analyst or business analyst, data scientists can analyze their historical legacy data and improve their businesses. It also comes with 25 plus pre-built connectors, which can be used for third-party application.
So, and just to drive the point home here, because that was a lot, and we're going to unpack a lot of that here in a bit, and even take a quick little look. But some of the main differences I think I heard, and maybe you can kind of drive into these, is that Suite Analytics is just NetSuite data. It's real time. Obviously, NetSuite Analytics Warehouse is a data warehouse, and you have a pipeline from NetSuite. You have also, though, connectors to other applications, the data from other applications as well. Have I summarized all of that? Can you maybe even do a better job of just making the distinctions between those two?
No, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You summarized pretty well. Basically, NetSuite Analytics Warehouse complements Suite Analytics and addresses the need of analytics beyond transactional reporting. So the main difference is that NetSuite Analytics Warehouse is a complete package, which has a data warehouse and a BI layer on top of it with data coming from these various systems and not only just NetSuite. And I would say it also boosts the overall performance from the long-running queries in Suite Analytics, and also provides a lot more visualization options. And since Oracle and NetSuite product has built this together by leveraging some of the key components like ADW and OSC, customers can slice and dice NetSuite data in multiple ways. Also bring in those third-party application data with some of our 25 plus pre-built connectors and perform advanced analytic scenarios with historical data analysis.
So what would you say is some of the main value of the NetSuite Analytics Warehouse for NetSuite customers? I think you've kind of touched on a lot of them here, but what would be the top 2 or 3?
Sure. Great question. I mean, NSAW is a single source of truth that minimizes risk. It's easy to use, perform analytics, and drive the business insights. It doesn't require customers a huge IT staff to manage, this being a cloud solution. And as I said, it comes with a pre-built data pipeline, so our users can work on the data immediately, along with the third-party source data as well. And we also have some of the pre-built content, which comes out of the box with visualization contents available on day one. So, I mean, I can share a few customer examples as well, where one of our customers was looking at building an in-house warehouse solution to preserve and report on data based on their legacy system to be able to decommission it. Now, with NSAW, it's helping them consolidate data into this one single system for better decision making with their legacy, current, and future acquisition data, which streamlines and scales their business operations. And they also feel that the NetSuite data is coming a lot faster in the warehouse, along with, again, the third-party application data, and see a lot more visualization options in NSAW as compared to Suite Analytics. And one of our other customers was using spreadsheet as an audit tool, and where they were finding it very hard because they had to write a lot of manual SQL queries. Now, NSAW is helping them identify those discrepancies and ensure that the MySQL and the NSAW data, ensuring the data is accurate. And this also gives them cloud solution. And again, with a lot more visualization option, it becomes a lot more easier for them to report it and visualize the data. I'd like to share one more example where one of our customers was using manual process, which was time consuming to mash up data between their legacy and NetSuite data. So now with NSAW, it's helping them mash up data, which is saving them a lot more time. And now that they don't have to do this manual process anymore. So it's like automated with all this data pipeline coming in.
Wow.
Sure. I mean, thank you. Those are some great examples, and we just kind of announced this, and we already have all these customers, and I think that helped bring it to light very nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. We had I don't know if you guys noticed, but we had a special guest with Joav. His cat joined us for a hot second there. So I appreciate your cat joining in, Joav. What's your cat's name?
That was Teddy. I have two that are in my room, so maybe Ginger will show herself as well. Let's see.
I love it. I love it. Okay, well, Chirag, you just called out some great value of the NetSuite Analytics Warehouse. I kind of want to take this though, and I think some people may say, well, I've heard that other, analytics warehouse providers can offer me that as well. So what is the big differentiator between NetSuite Analytics Warehouse and other data warehouse solutions? Maybe that's Chirag, Mike, one of you can take that on. Sure.
No, I mean, see, you can't really compare NetSuite Analytics Warehouse with any data warehouse or a BI tool. NSAW, as I said, is a complete package, which has data warehouse and a BI layer on top of it, which has both the capabilities. So NSAW can't be compared with, say, a data warehouse tool or a business intelligence tools. NSAW has both. There is no need for multiple vendors. Mike, do you want to add something to that?
No, basically just to reinforce what you just said. The two major differentiators are the fact that we control the entire stack, right? You're not going to have to figure out which vendor to call because there was an issue with the data integrating to your warehouse, or maybe there was an issue with a visualization or something like that. And now you're going to have to find out which customer service team to call, or maybe how to get a consultant to help you out with that specific niche. We control the entire solution. We have NetSuite experts, data warehouse experts, BI experts, and we have professional services that can do all of it for you. So I don't want to understate the value of just having sort of, a single vendor managing the entire technology package. But also a profound source of differentiation is just the fact that all of your ERP data is already taken care of for you.
Yeah.
There's with all of these other data warehouse tools, they're not going to have a connector into your ERP that's going to verify and validate all of your data, convert it into a high-performing database model, and then furthermore, format it into a semantic model that you can use, that business users can use to analyze the data. And so there's an incredible amount of effort. I've seen the code. It's thousands of lines of SQL code, and I just would not recommend any customer taking that on unless they have a lot of expertise in house. But even still.
Yeah. Well, we are getting a ton of questions coming in, and we just have a few more things, and we're actually going to walk through an example here in a moment. But one question I had, and maybe Joav, you can take this one. If somebody is using one of those other solutions that we referenced, how easy would it be to switch over to NetSuite Analytics Warehouse?
Oh, Joav, are you frozen? Joav might be frozen right now. We'll give it a few seconds, but let's
Sure.
see.
Or Mike, can you guys comment on switching from another data warehousing solution to NetSuite?
Yeah, it kind of depends on the solution and how entrenched you are with those visualizations. But it really shouldn't be a major effort as long as all of the NetSuite data is clean and we have access to those data sources. In fact, one thing I do want to mention is the Analytics Warehouse solution actually has connectors with most other data warehouses. Think of your Amazon or your Google data warehouses. So we could just connect our warehouse to those repositories, extract all of the data, and then basically you could end of life your contract for those other tools. And so that is an approach that I've seen some customers looking into.
That's a great example. And Mike, we're talking about all of this right now, and I think what's super important is to give the people a view into the Analytics Warehouse. And I know you've been jazzed about showing this off. So can we walk through an example of how NetSuite Analytics actually works?
I can't do it live in this forum, but what I was able to do, I got some last minute screenshots that you and Tori were kind enough to add to this presentation. So I was going to use those to sort of just facilitate a high level overview of what this might look like, how you might use it, those kinds of things. So Tori, do you mind, or Kendall, can you throw up the first slide so I can get started with the overview?
Yep. Tori, our producer, is on it.
Okay, so the journey really begins with the pipeline, as Chirag alluded to earlier, right? And it really is broken down into just a single click of your mouse to activate a functional area that will include all of the underlying transaction records associated with that business process. All right, so think about that screen you're looking at right now. By just checking off something like purchasing, you're actually activating all of the procure-to-pay transactions to flow to the data warehouse automatically. Purchase orders, vendor bills, payments, what have you. And so I don't want to understate the value of that, right? Again, there's a lot of effort that it took to stage that data, verify it, figure out what's changed from the last pull, generate snapshots on all of this data, and then ultimately convert it into a high-performing database model. It's called a star schema, which is designed for analysis and BI tools, data warehousing, basically. And then ultimately it gets reformatted into a semantic model that's really just a logical grouping of data that end users can effectively interact with. And so if you move to the next slide, Tori, you're going to have the ability to basically immediately start analyzing your data. We have pre-packaged KPIs and analytics that we've sort of gathered requirements and feedback from customers, and they are evolving over the course of time. But you can build out your own analysis. What you're seeing on the screen is just a sample analysis on cash sales. Maybe I wanted to take a high-level geographical overview of my sales, and then I wanted to break it down by channel, or I even wanted to get into the details of the sales of the individual items themselves. You can do that without even having to leave a single screen. It's all drag and drop. It's very easy to consume. Okay, so on the left side, you're seeing the semantic model. All of the data is grouped. We're pre-calculating all sorts of measurements for you that we've found out from our customers that have just been commonly used. They're commonly building those calculations, so we're providing them to you out of box. All right, and for some customers that might be the end of the story. Maybe NetSuite is their main source of truth, and that's all they really need to analyze. But the true value of a data warehouse and an analytics warehouse solution lies in the ability to mash up data from multiple data sources. So what we can do is we can connect to your other platforms. Think of things like your web analytics platforms, or maybe your e-commerce platforms, or maybe, again, you have a niche platform, a SQL Server database that has all sorts of, specific data related to your industry. We can bring that data into the warehouse. And if you go to the next slide, Tori. And through something simple like a data flow, you can see on the top sort of section of the screen, there's 2 data sources that we've brought in. Maybe one's like a web analytics, one's my NetSuite data, maybe it's actual sales orders, or it's pipeline data, or it's GL impacting data. But maybe we want to mash that up with some data we're extracting from our e-commerce site. And so with a quick process to join that data, we can save it as sort of a blended data set that we can use to analyze not only our actual financial, business, management, operational data, but also data from other platforms. So if you go ahead and move to the next slide. And so what you're seeing here is the fact that now I've actually run that data flow you just saw on the previous screen, and it's generated a data set that I can use to analyze my business cross-functionally. The top little red box has a handful of fields from my cash sales table. You can add fields from any transaction type in NetSuite. And the bottom red box has fields that I've joined up from my e-commerce site. And now I have the opportunity to do all sorts of interesting things. I can figure out if there's relationships between the e-commerce experience of shoppers to whether we're getting cart abandonments or ultimately closed cash sales orders. We can use machine learning to have it basically run analysis on all of the synergies between the data points in this data set. Are there certain categories of products that are getting better page views versus others? Should some items be getting more revenue than others? And in this particular example, you actually can see some outliers in that scatter chart on the top left. So some of these should be getting more revenue. You can overlay machine learning capabilities like trend lines, reference lines. You can run clustering algorithms or have it help you identify outliers with basically a single click. And so once you have this analysis, you can export it, you can publish it, you can save it, you can consume it in all sorts of different ways. You can even email it out. So there's the ability to share this across your organization is also another source of value. I think that pretty much wraps up my overview. Did I do a decent job, Kendall?
You did it. You did a great job. You did a great job. That was so helpful. That was a lot. Again, just a lot to digest here, we realize, which is why we've actually provided a link in the description of the caption, wherever you're tuning in from, description on YouTube. But it's also easy to remember, and it is netsuite.com/NSAW. If you want to learn more, if you're a current NetSuite customer, reach out to your account manager, and you can do it that way. But I think Fritz has some more some more questions to ask here, and I feel like it's about what's coming in 2022 release 1. Fritz?
That's right. And I think, Mike, you did a great job, and we have a lot of questions, as I mentioned, some of which may have been answered by taking a look at that, but we'll ask those questions here at the end anyway. But one thing, back to Joav, so I think we have him back here and his cat. We did announce NetSuite Analytics Warehouse back in October, and in 2022 release 1, which is rolling out over here over the next few months, or some updates to it. Can you speak to updates regarding NetSuite Analytics Warehouse?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, sorry, my Wi-Fi dropped, of course. It's one of these days. Yeah, we in the upcoming release, we focus predominantly on adding more content, as Mike and Chirag mentioned, right? One of the big advantages is that we are not delivering just the technology and let you do most of the stuff yourself, but it also comes with prepackaged content. So one of the areas is what we call different type of transactions or transaction types that are clustered around business areas like sales, finance, employees, and so on. We are delivering much more of these transaction types to you with the upcoming release. Another area of improvements that we have is regarding historical snapshot. I think one of the advantages between a data warehouse and embedded analytics that's in real time is that the data warehouse can really capture the history and will allow you to sniff out historical trends and be able to deliver you better insights by having the historical information. So we will deliver 3 more historical snapshot there regarding your work order, your inventory, and your expense reports. And last but not least, we also deliver 5 new dashboards in the area of sales overview, order management, procurement, inventory, and financials.
Great, thank you. You'll have a lot of exciting new things, and I'm sure we'll be continuing to add more over time. Chirag, one last question for you. Who do you recommend for implementing a NetSuite Analytics Warehouse, and what's included?
Sure. I mean, we being part of the NetSuite customer success in professional services group, we feel that we are the most experienced NSW practice because we were part of the beta program and successfully drove the beta 2 program. We have experience implementing a NetSuite Analytics Warehouse for over 40 customers, including beta, with highly experienced resources consisting of solution architect and senior consultants. One thing I wanted to highlight is that we are not a profit center. We are measured based on our customer success through our customer feedback and references. And we have a close collaboration with our product team to provide that feedback and in order to improve features, capabilities, and build this as an impactful solution for our customers. In terms of what's included, we offer this base versions in Suite Success Edition, Standard, Premium, and Enterprise. We are following the Suite Success methodology, the approach, because that has been the proven approach in terms of implementing ERP, and we are following the same approach where we get you live quickly within 4 weeks. Again, depending on which SKU you purchase, but we make sure we enable you and not only get you live successfully, but we enable you, make sure that you are fully ramped up and get the full value out of NetSuite Analytics Warehouse for your future business needs. And the other thing I wanted to say is that we do have some of our partners who are already enabled. So we do offer end-to-end services as well as advisory and joint delivery with our partners. And lastly, ACS team, our advanced customer support, can also help you configure and with consulting and optimization as needed.
Absolutely. And for any of you who joined us last month on our live, we talked all about ACS, our ACS team, and ACS playbooks. So again, if that's where you need a little bit of help, please reach out to your account manager. They can connect you to the right people. And with that, we're now going to open it up to the onslaught of questions that came through from all of you that are tuning in right now. We're going to do our best to get to as many of these questions as we possibly can, but if we don't get to it in our time here today, somebody will definitely be responding via LinkedIn, so just keep a lookout for that. And again, some of your questions may be answered if you go to netsuite.com/NSAW. There's a lot there that can help educate you on the NetSuite Analytics Warehouse. And for those of you who don't have any questions, of course, just keep shouting out to us. Tell us where you're tuning in from. Tell us about your data challenges and successes, and maybe we'll shout out right back to you. But first question coming in here is from Tyler. Tyler says, how technical does someone need to be to manage the data warehouse? So whoever wants to take that one, let me know.
I'm happy to start. I think we made it as simple as possible for our customers to not having to be technical at all. I think the data warehouse is deployed and hosted on the Oracle Cloud infrastructure. And the management of it actually goes through the NetSuite administrative pages. So all the data transfer that you would like to set up, or the users that you would like to set up, you can do through the NetSuite application and through the administrative area that you're familiar with. Of course, we have a link to the Oracle Data Warehouse cockpit as well. So you can go as deep and as technical as you like to fine-tune the data warehouse and everything else, but you don't have to. I think to start off with, it's really point and click on your NetSuite pages. And because we have invested a lot in delivering the star schemas, the semantic model, and the dashboards and visualizations out of the board, I think you're set up to go right away. And you can learn as you go, and you can develop your own content as much as you like and as comfortable as you feel.
That's great.
Great, thank you, Joav. We have a great question actually from Amy, which I don't think we've addressed yet. Maybe Chirag can handle this one. How often is the data refreshed or updated?
Sure. So NetSuite data pipeline, you can run that you can configure that to run on a daily basis, or you can have an ad hoc request as well, manually, where you want to transfer data immediately. There's that option too, but then you can configure that on a daily basis as well.
Great. Okay, we have another question coming in here, but actually first, I do want to make sure I get to some of these shout outs because they are very, very nice. So we actually have a shout out from Susie. She said, hi, Joav's cat. So Joav, can you please pass that message along to your kitty for us? She also added that this is great to hear how others are using the Analytics Warehouse already. I think this is Kanan. Shout out to Chirag and team for some awesome work on NSAW. Thank you for that. Really sweet of you to comment. Now, I am going to get to a question that we kind of touched on, but I just want to drive this point home. It's from Daryl. Daryl asks, what are some of the delivered connectors to other cloud software?
Yeah, I can probably start with this one, Chirag.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, so we have 25 plus connectors to some of the more common data sources that you'll find out there. Think of like some of the common CRMs and other data warehouses that you might want to extract data from, or e-commerce analytics sites. So we do have that. I mean, we do actually have a supported connectors sort of public page that we can maybe outline at some point. But yeah, that's the goal, is to be able to broaden our horizons with more flexible connectors and make it easier for customers to bring this data in. But yeah, we can provide that list of 25 connectors. I mean, think of like Google Analytics and like your big queries. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of a handful of Salesforce, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Great. We also have a similar kind of question on a different topic from Brenda, who asks, will there be similar visualizations that other BI tools have, and I think you showed some of them, Mike. But can you characterize the nature and number of our visualizations?
Yeah, so that's actually another point of differentiation between what you can do in the NetSuite UI versus what you can accomplish in the Analytics Warehouse. It comes with over 40 visualization types, so obviously that's a lot more robust than the handful you'll get in NetSuite. So think of things like you'll be able to stack bar charts and line charts in all sorts of different ways. You'll be able to pivot your data in different ways and scatter it. There's other types of more sophisticated diagrams like Sankeys and tag clouds and geomaps. The geomap is actually a really common one a lot of our customers are looking for, because it can automatically plot measurement data on sort of a graphic or a geographical representation of your territories. So those are some of the common ones, but those all can be outlined in documentation too. If there's something specific that anyone's looking for, we could obviously vet that out.
Great. Thank you so much, Mike. And with that, we are a few minutes over the hour. We've also lost Chirag because today is just a day for technical difficulties. So I think on that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap up here. Hey, if we didn't get to your question, we will definitely make sure to answer that on LinkedIn. I know a lot of these questions are coming through on LinkedIn, so we will definitely have somebody respond to you. And again, if this is a question that you want to take to your account manager, please do. And also, please use that link, netsuite.com/NSAW, to learn more. And thank you so much, Joav, Mike, and Chirag, who just joined us back in the green room. But thank you all for joining us. That was so informative.
Yeah, definitely. Please reach out to your account managers because the overview I did really didn't do it justice. The product speaks for itself a lot better during a live demonstration. So reach out to your account manager and schedule a meeting if you're interested in the product.
And just because you gave a shout out from folks from Germany, I would be amiss to not say, vielen Dank, dass ihr zugeschaltet habt. Ich hoffe, es hat euch gefallen und lasst uns wissen, wenn ihr noch irgendwelche Fragen habt. Habt noch einen guten Abend.
Wow, we love it. Wow, so you're not just a kind of data scientist. Now you speak all these different languages. This is impressive, Joav. This is impressive.
Thank you.
Well, hopefully Joav did not say anything that was not safe for work.
Just how I really feel about you, Fritz.
Great. Thank you, guys. And as always, a big thanks to all of you for tuning in. If you want to learn more about NetSuite Analytics Warehouse, we've said it a few times. I'll say it one more time. We have a link in the caption, netsuite.com/NSAW, to learn more. And if you're a current NetSuite customer, as Mike said, reach out to your account manager.
And one final shameless plug here. If you don't already, give us a follow, a like, or subscribe across any of our social media channels so you never, ever, ever miss content just like this. And with that, we will see you soon. Thank you so much. Bye.